The following episode of Dad vs. Daughter was made possible by a contribution from Queen Games.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Dad vs. Daughter. I'm Tim the Dad, and today we're going to be taking a look at Merlin. Now this is from Queen Games. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of show you how the game is played, and then we're going to peek in on Dad and his buddies as they play around, and then we're going to come back and tell you what we think. So check it out.
So I'll tell you how the board is set up. We have all these different principalities, and each one has their own flags, their shields, and 6 building material blocks. Merlin will always start on the black space on the rondel. We have the Holy Grail that will be on the Holy Grail spot, and we have Excalibur, which will start on the Excalibur spot. We have our apples, and we have our mission cards. We have our turn track, and the game is played over 6 rounds, and all players will start with their marker on the 0 spot. Each player is going to get a player board in a color. As you can see, I've already chosen green. And we have our knight. We start with 3 dice in our color. We start with 1 white dice for Merlin. We have 4 markers that are our henchmen. We have our mason, who gives us a building material of whatever principality he's sent to. We have our knight, who will give us a shield from that principality. We have our flag bearer, who will give us a flag from that principality. And we have our lady in waiting, who will allow us to provide 1 influence in that principality. Every player will start with 1 apple, which will allow us on our turn to change a die face to any face that we want. We have 7 of our influence tokens. We have 7 manners, which are going to go on a sideboard that I'll talk about later, the environs. And then we also start with 3 Merlin staffs. Now, those are used to, whenever we control Merlin, we can take the action that he just took another time. So we can do that 3 times throughout the course of the game. If we don't use those, then those are going to be worth points at the end. A first player will randomly be chosen, and they get to have this nifty crown to represent first player. We'll shuffle these starting tiles, and we'll give 1 to each player. Now what this is going to do is tell us a number of things and how we're going to start. So it will show that I will be placing my knight on the blue principality. I'll also get their banner. I will get a gray shield, a black building material, and I'll be able to put an influence in the brown area. You can see after setup, the board may look something like this. Our knights are on the round table where they're supposed to be based on those starting tiles. And you can also see our influence markers on those principalities that matched our starting cards as well. We'll also deal 4 of these mission cards to each player. Now you'll notice we also have 3 in a display that are visible, and whenever a player completes a mission card, they're going to be able to, they'll discard the card that they completed, and then they can either take a mission card from the display or one from the top. Mission cards look something like this. This will tell you the number or the requirements of completing this mission. So in this case, I would have to have 2 of the orange building materials, and I'm going to get 2 victory points. Here I have to have the brown flag and the gray flag for 2 victory points. Here I have to have 2 of the gray shields for 2 victory points. And here I just need to have my lady in waiting at the black principality, and I'll get 1 victory point. The last part of setup that I want to go over is that we have to deal with traders. Now we have a stack of trader tiles over here, and each player is going to take 1 off of these stacks, and they're going to look like this. They're worth -3 points if you do not get shields that match this banner in order to repel them. So you can see I have 1 for the blue, I have 1 for the silver, and I have 1 for the black. So we're going to place those in these notches above our player board. So the blue will go there, the gray will go here, and the black will go there. And you'll be able to see based on the flag, and you line them up with the shields. So like I said, to repel them, what you're going to need is a shield to place on each of those, because when we do our scoring, if we don't have a shield that we can surrender to basically deal with those traders, we're going to lose 3 victory points for each one of those that we do not take care of. Now, the last thing I want to talk about and set up is this environs board. Now, you'll shuffle these tiles up, and then you'll place them out so that we have a display that looks similar to this. And for different player counts, you're going to remove certain tiles. But what you're going to do is you'll notice on the outsides there are the cubes of each color, and there are little arrows that are going to point to where you can place your manners. So those little manners that look like that I showed you at the beginning. There we go. So when I take that action on the rondelle, then I'm going to give up the building material. So in this case, I would give up a black, and I would look and see where I can place a manor based on that black cube. If I draw the lines out, I can either go to either of these water spots, I could go anywhere along this line, or I could go to this forest, I could go to this quarry or this quarry. And then what I would do is, let's say that I decide I want to put it in this water because that's a pretty good size area, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'll just place it there. So now I have majority in that environment. And when we do our scoring, we're going to look to see who has the majority. And if I had the majority in this spot, then I would get 5 points because that's based on the size of the environment. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if I ever place my manor on one of these towers, then I can either place an influence, I can collect a flag, or I can get a shield of any principality I want. It doesn't matter which building material that I used in order to place that. To start our turn, every player is going to take their 3 dice of their color and the 1 Merlin die, and everybody's going to roll them. If you ever roll 3 or 4 of the same number, then you keep re-rolling until you don't do that. But you'll see I rolled a 1, 2, and a 3, and a 6 on the Merlin die. Now, on your player board down at the bottom, you have spots for these dice. So here's your 3 dice for your color, and here's a spot for the Merlin die. Now, to resolve your die, it depends on which die that you're using. So let's say that I decide to use my 3 in my player color. When you use your player color die, you are going to be traveling clockwise around the round table, unless you use this blue banner, which allows you to actually go the other direction. So then I would place my die here in the middle, and then I would move my knight 3 spaces, and then I would be able to perform the action that is below where I'm sitting at. Now, let's say that I used the Merlin die. That's a 6. Merlin is special because Merlin can go around the table any direction he wants. So I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to here, and I could take the Holy Grail. Or I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and go over here, and I can take the Excalibur. Now, I'm not going to go over what all of these do, but some will give you victory points based on certain things. Like this one, for instance, will allow you to get a victory point for every influence you have on the board. This allows you to swap one resource for another. This allows you to place a manor and so forth. But whenever you land on the principality spots, that is when you can assign your henchmen to that principality. And you can either get a building material, you can get a flag, or you can get a shield. Now, let's say that someone else's henchman is already there. Whenever you take that action that allows you to put a henchman there that's the same one, then the one that's already there is returned to its owner. So players are going to take turns, and each time they use one of their die, they'll put it in the middle. So you'll see on my first turn, I did the Merlin die. Everybody else would take their turn. My next turn, I play my 2, goes around every other player again. Then I place my 3, and then finally I will place my 1 on my final turn. The turn ends once all players are out of their dice. Once we've completed the 2nd, 4th, and 6th turn, then we will score. So now that I've walked you through setup and kind of how a turn goes, let's watch Dad and his friends play through a full round. And I think that's going to give you a really good idea on the game flow and how turns are done and so forth. So let's check it out. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we have our 3 dice and our Merlin dice. We are going to roll those. And as long as we don't have 3 or more of the same die, we're going to be good, and we can place those on our board. Place them in the correct spots. Hefe, who is yellow, is actually our first player this round. So we are in round 4. So at the end of this round, we will do the scoring.
All right. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to play a mission card. As long as I have influence in the black area and in the purple area, which I do, that's 2 points. Then I'll just draw back up and grab another card. Okay.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Not doing your turn.
I'm going to move 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which allows me to move one of my henchmen left or right 1 space. And so I think what I'm going to do is move I'm going to move this henchman. I want the flag here, or shield. So what is that? Is that the
That's
lady?
your swordsman.
It's the swords. It's this guy.
Yep.
Shield,
Shield,
yeah.
got a shield in it.
Military guy.
All right, that's what I want.
Move 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I'm going to Bannerman. There it is. Banner. And complete an influence, a black banner, and an orange resource for 3. And I believe that's it for me.
All right. First thing I'm going to do is start off, I'm going to complete this card because I have 2 of my henchmen in the purple area. So that will give me 2 points. And I think I will take that card. Oh, wait till the end of the turn. Let's see. I'm going to spend my 4. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I will move my guy over to here and take a shield. Because I want to be prepared for these traitorous dudes, to put it politely, since this is a family show. And that is my turn.
All right, I am going to, I guess we can refill here. I'm going to move my knight 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. I will take Excalibur, please.
Wow.
So, since I have Excalibur, I am able to actually remove a traitor, and I will remove this one right here. I too will complete a gold card here. It says if I have an influence in the brown area and in the blue area here, I will get 2 points. So I will spend that and go up 2 points. We are really close. Numbers here. What?
Did I screw up? I did.
Oh, that's influence.
Yeah. Ah, shoot.
Do you have another one you can use?
No. Yeah. No, I took that one. I'm gonna back that one up. Back my 2 points up.
Okay.
So I found that I actually did something wrong. Instead of having, I thought I had my 2 henchmen there. It's actually 2 influence, so I don't actually get those 2 points. So I've adjusted the score track accordingly, and I will put this card back. I believe it was right here in the middle. So.
All right, my turn. I'm going to play another mission card for 1 victory. Have a guy in the brown area, which, oh wait, it's a special guy. That's not the right guy.
Yep,
Sorry.
can I have a banner?
Yep, got a different man. All right. I'm going to move one. Will get me in here. I'm going to use my smithy to grab a cube. And I believe that's it for me.
All right, I'm going to just move one. So somewhere where I have influence, I can put one of my henchmen to work. I'm going to send my henchman here to take a shield. And then I'm also going to spend a staff to do that again. And with that, I'm going to send my lady in waiting here to place an influence marker here. And that puts 4 influence markers on the board, so I will fulfill that for 3 victory points, please. Thank you.
All right, I will use my
Grail gives you
3.
an apple.
So I will go 1, 2, 3, and move one of my henchmen. I will move my lady in waiting over to there and place an influence. And you know what? I will use my Merlin staff to do that same action twice and place another influence. And that will now complete that card that I had previously, which will give me 2 points. And I will take
And you said these
this
are
card.
1 point.
2 points. 2 points at the end of the game.
2 points per.
2 points. Yep. 2 points at the end of the game.
2 points per staff.
2. Yep. Per staff.
Is
Per
that
staff.
right?
Okay.
I think in order to take the action again, I think you actually have to move.
Here, let me see that.
Yep.
I'll back that up then.
So the action that you're duplicating is the movement and then take the action of the henchman. You had the Merlin staff section.
Yeah.
It's towards the beginning. It's before the actions. There it is. Merlin staff.
Is the
They may
This
choose
one-
to expend one of their Merlin stuff, like removing
If
it
you
from the
have 3
castle
influence
board and
on the board,
returning
you
the
get
info
3.
after they do.
Right,
They can
exactly. You just
repeat their
copy-
action for the
Oh,
turn
so you got
immediately.
7 influence, so there's 4 left. So I know you have 3 on the board. You get 3 points.
3 points. Okay.
Because that's what I did when I did the other one.
Oh, yeah.
Two.
The action that you're duplicating is
Yeah.
that action.
So he did that twice. Does that mean? Oh, does that mean he has to move again?
That's what I'm thinking. Yes.
Okay. Well, then I'll just back that up.
Then you don't.
Sorry.
Then
That's
you
okay.
Want, you want to take this back then?
Well, no, that was the first thing I did. Oh, yeah,
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
that was
For
the second one. Yeah. So, did I? Oh, I did fulfill a card. So, I'm gonna take that back and put this one back. Okay. Sorry, guys.
No, I
totally screwed
apologize.
that up.
I didn't catch that. That's what you did last time.
All right, now James. Now it's your turn.
All right. I am going to move Merlin 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Basically to grab an apple. All right. That and then that's all I'm going to do. Could you use a staff to do this twice and get 2 apples?
Yes.
I think I'm going to do that. Staff pile there.
Oh, I threw right in the middle.
All right. Moving 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For every banner I have, I get a victory. Is that right?
Yep.
2.
So 2 points for yellow.
Weak turn. Very weak. Sometimes you take what you can get.
That is true, sir.
I'm going to move Merlin 6. There. So I'm going to send her. Place an influence.
Okay. I am going to use an apple to change that 2 into a 1. And go there. And I will place my lady in waiting back to there. And place an influence. Now, I will, since I have 2 influence, I can turn this in for 2 victory points. And I'll take that card.
Okie dokie. I am going to use this die. It's 2. I'm going to move my knight 2. 1, 2. And then in this area here, I'm going to place the influence marker, which will allow me to put another influence here. And because of that, I now have 2 influence in that area, which gives me 2 points. Let's see here. Yeah, that ain't ever happening. Take that one.
All right, I'm going to play my 2 Merlin. Move this back 2 for every influence I have, which is 3. 1, 2, 3. Gives me 3 victory.
Nice.
4. So somewhere where I have an influence, I can take a banner. Take an orange banner. No cards.
All right, I play my Merlin dice. I will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I will use my Mason dude.
Oh,
And I will take
that hurt.
a block. And because I have my lady in waiting at purple, I will get a point.
I could just be that fresh last round, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
It's not cool, man. Not cool.
And I'm going to take this.
Okay, I am going to use an apple, and I'm going to change this 6 to a 4. That makes much of a difference there. And I'm going to go here. I'm going to move my lady in waiting over here.
I despise you.
I know.
I despise everything about you.
I love you, man. And that would be the end of my.
He's got the
I was waiting on that one.
Scoring.
All right, so now let's move on to scoring. And up here next to where the round tracker is, it kind of tells you what we're going to do. But I'm going to let Chris kind of walk us through the scoring.
Sure. So the first thing we'll do is traders. So we'll start with first player. Do you have any traders that...
I blocked everyone.
Okay.
I got to give up the shield, though.
So you're going to turn in resources, and you don't have Excalibur, so you get no additional bonus. I, too, have blocked mine. Thank you.
I have blocked mine. All 3 of these guys.
And I blocked both of these guys, which counts as 1 shield each. And
But you also have Excalibur, so that's going to give you an additional 3 points. So next we go to the environs. So we have in gray, yellow is by himself with area of 1, so 1 point.
1 point.
Yep.
Got it.
And then we have the gray area that blue controls has 4. And now we get into contended. So we have a blue section of 5 tiles. You each have a house or a manor in here, so you're going to split and each get 2 points.
Does the Grail work on this?
Green and blue. Huh?
Does the Grail work on that too?
No.
Okay. Only on
They think so. I think it's only here.
think
I'll
so.
double check. And then the other contended is the green, which there's a tie. Red gets 4 and yellow gets 4.
Oh, yep.
All right, and then we move to influence. So we start in the black district. And so we have a tie. Red has 2, blue has 2, but blue has the grail. Cheated and got it at the last second. So blue is going to get all 5 points.
The joys of going last.
Yellow and red are next to each get 1 point. Green will get 3 points. Green will get 4 points. Red will get 1 point. And blue will get 2 points. And then we go around, starting with first player. Yellow has 3 henchmen out, so 3 points. Red has 2 henchmen out for 2 points. Green has 4 henchmen out, and blue has 2 henchmen out. All right. That is the scoring.
All right, so then we would
Grail's
advance the
yes.
marker over to the final section. Well, we'll have 2 rounds, and then we'll do final scoring. Well, hopefully that gave you a really good idea on how the game is played. So now that you've seen it in action, let's get to what we think. So this is a game that my game group and I really enjoy. Hopefully that came across as you saw us playing. We really have enjoyed playing this a lot. In fact, I think all but one of us actually owns a copy of this game. The gameplay is really cool on how you can manipulate the dice with your apples, how you can use Merlin, which can screw other people up because they're expecting him to be in a certain spot and you've now moved him over to a different area. Also, the area control by having the various influence in the principalities, vying for that and getting points that way. That's a really neat part of the gameplay as well. One of the things of the gameplay that we really enjoy is fighting over Excalibur and the Holy Grail. I don't know if we mentioned it during the playthrough, but the Holy Grail can be used to break ties when you're looking at who controls more or has most influence in a principality. Plus, you can also get bonus points for having Excalibur if you have successfully defeated all the traitors. When you look at this board, it does appear to be very busy, and that can actually put some people off because you know, if you look at each principality, you've got a lot going on. You know, you've got your materials and such, you've got your influence tokens and your spots for your henchmen. But really, they're all the same. So I think if people can kind of get past that, the board layout is not difficult at all. And I want to say that I think the artwork on this board is gorgeous. Like I said, it looks busy, but it looks really nice, I think. Same with the artwork that's on the cards. I think you can see King Arthur there sitting on his throne. I think the art on these are just fine. The player boards, the art looks really neat as well. I think the components are good. The thickness of the tokens, all that stock, it's pretty thick. Your materials are just normal wooden blocks. Your knights are kind of neat. It might have been neater to have them have a little bit more definition, but that's really no big deal. Kind of the same with Merlin. He's kind of plain, but not a big deal at all. You've got rounded wooden dice, which are just fine. So everything with the components is nice, except for one small thing, and that is the henchman tokens, because these are stickers, and I hate stickers. In fact, all of my group, we're not fond of stickers at all. In fact, I've put these on quite a while ago, and they're already starting to kind of come off a little bit. So I keep pressing them down, but never a fan of having stickers. It would have been neater if they would have even maybe just put a symbol on there, like the flag, maybe kind of etched in or something into the wood itself instead of having the sticker. But that's really kind of a minor quibble. But even the influence tokens, they're nice and little wood cylinders, same kind that you see in a lot of other games. So component-wise, I think it is just fine. Replayability on this, I think, is pretty good because you never know what your starting resources are going to be. You've got 4 of these starting tiles, so those are going to get shuffled up. So you don't know exactly how you're going to be starting as far as your resources and such go. You don't know which ones of the traders you're going to have to deal with. So, that's a change as well. Plus, with this rondelle system, I think it's going to give you enough variety that your turns don't seem too samey. You might get a little bit of AP proneness here just because you're trying to set up a move with Merlin and somebody moves him and that really kind of hoses you up. But if you're a player that can easily adapt, you're kind of, that you don't put a whole lot of thought into him until you actually can use him. There's enough variety in the different mission cards, I think, that, and you can see there's a huge stack of those. So those are always going to be different too. So overall, like I said, my group really likes this game. We would all definitely give it a thumbs up. Like I said, most of us have it in our own collections. We like playing it. It is a little bit longer game, but I want to point out the mark of a good game, at least for my group, is when we call each other out on a lot of things, especially when it comes to fighting over the Grail or Excalibur or moving Merlin. And we all have a lot of fun with that, even though we give each other a hard time. So that is Merlin from Queen Games. I also know there's, I think, 1 or 2 expansions that are out with this. And the game does come with another expansion or a little module that's in the box. I've not actually played with that yet, but again, that adds more of the replayability. So like I said, highly recommend it, and we will catch you guys next time.
If you would like to support us, you can visit patreon.com/dadvdaughter.
Like and follow us on Facebook to stay current on our show schedule, sneak peeks at future shows, and to interact with us.